Hi, and welcome to Writing Essentials with Mrs. Benson. Today, we are going to be talking about sentence variety. And we are in the unit of argumentative writing, but really, this is a topic that crosses over to all genres of writing. Sentence variety is one of your best resources and methods for getting dynamics and interesting delivery in your writing. So I'm excited for you to think about integrating this concept in your own writing. So one of the easiest ways for you to vary your sentence structure more is to think about something that I like to call RECS. So this is a pretty long-held method for adding variety to your sentences. So why do it? Sentence variety increases the level of dynamics in your writing. So we have a tendency to start our sentences with the typical subject-verb format. And this ends up looking a little bit like this. Jerry decides to accomplish the feat of swimming through the tunnel with bravery and determination. Jerry tells his mom, and her internal debate reveals her anxiety about his choice. Jerry then exercises his independence as he tries something challenging by himself. Is this terrible writing? No. Does this writing have a lot of dynamics? Not necessarily. You can see that these three sentences of analysis in a row all start with Jerry, which happens to be the main character of the short story by Doris Lessing, Through the Tunnel. It doesn't matter what story or what character. You can see that we can very easily fall into a trap of starting with a noun or pronoun and then a verb and continuing that rhythm, because that's just what sort of instinctively, naturally comes out first often. And what happens is then our sentence structure can be a bit monotonous and bland sounding in its delivery. So we want those dynamics. We want those interesting ups and downs and varying starters to give the sentences a little more impact. How can we do that? How do we fix sentence monotony? RECS. So RECS stands for rearrange, expand, combine, subtract. Those are four verbs, four action steps that you can take to manipulate your sentences and to therefore increase your sentence variety and provide more interest. First one up is R for rearrange. And this one's my favorite, because this doesn't take anything but taking the puzzle pieces of your sentence and rearranging them. Okay, so taking those blocks, those components, and deciding, can I take something from the end and put it at the front, or can I take something from the middle and put it at the front, so that I'm not always starting with my subject, verb, subject, verb. So let's take a look at some examples of what rearranging can look like. So I take the first sentence. Jerry decides to accomplish the feat of swimming through the tunnel with bravery and determination. I'm now going to grab that ending part and rearrange and put that at the front. With bravery and determination, Jerry decides to accomplish the feat of swimming through the tunnel. So do you see how now at the forefront of the sentence, I don't start with Jerry, I start with a prepositional phrase. And really, the beginning of your sentence is one of those power positions of the sentence. Your subject of the sentence is a power spot, but also where you start with the sentence is your power spot. So you want to highlight particular elements by moving them to the front of the sentence. Bravery and determination hold more prominence in this second scenario than when they're at the very, very end of the sentence in the first scenario. Let's look at the second sentence. Jerry tells his mom, and her internal debate reveals her anxiety about his choice. Really simply, we can just add a couple words to make this sentence not a compound sentence, but a complex sentence. Looking at the revision, it says, as Jerry tells his mom, her internal debate reveals her anxiety about his choice. So all I did was take out the and that combined two independent clauses, and I created a dependent clause and an independent clause. So I went from compound to complex just by putting this subordinating conjunction at the start of the sentence. As. Now, if you don't know all the fancy terms, subordinating conjunction and complex and what, that's fine. But just the idea of how can I put a word at the front here to then change up the sentence structure. Okay. And then the last one here, Jerry then exercises his independence as he tries something challenging by himself. Again, I'm going to rearrange and I'm going to take the end and put it at the beginning. By trying something challenging by himself, comma, Jerry exercises his independence. Okay, so that's just flipping the sentence and changing the delivery, but really saying the same thing. It's just having a bit more impact. Okay, so rearrange, Mrs. Benson's favorite. We also have expand, which, you know, we never want to be overly wordy. You know, we don't want a 70-word sentence. That wouldn't be great. But at times we leave out significant modifiers or developing elements that would add more flavor and color to the writing. So here's an example. Jerry battles his doubts and fears. That's not a bad sentence at all. But let's say I have a lot of really short sentences in a row, then I might want to expand on some of those ideas. So I might expand. While facing the challenge completely alone, comma, Jerry battles his doubts about his own physical capabilities and his fears of the final outcome. There's just a little elevated sense of language in the second piece, and it has nice parallelism in it as well. So that's another great tool for sentence dynamics, is just thinking about how I can develop and expand within reason. Now, combine is very effective as well. I mentioned earlier that you might have several shorter sentences in a row. You know, if I have several sentences that are like 12 words, 13 words, 11 words, all strung together, then the writing is also lacking dynamics there. So what if I take a couple of those 10, 12 word sentences and I put them together? That would add some different rhythmic elements to my delivery as well. So here we have, Jerry tells his mom he wants to go to the bay. Her internal debate reveals her anxiety about his choice, two separate sentences, but then combined, we have a complex sentence. As Jerry tells his mom, comma, her internal debate reveals her anxiety about his choice. So it's just a little bit more interesting structurally and can add for those dynamics if you have a lot of simple sentences strung together. Last element of RECS is S, which is for subtract. Sometimes we can give so much and almost be repetitive or redundant, and that causes us to lose a very powerful writing quality that we want to aim for, which is concision. Okay, concision means no extra fluff, getting right and direct and to the point, and having a clear and powerful delivery with our writing. So look at the before here. Jerry is afraid when he tries to swim through the tunnel, but he does it and realizes that he could do it. All right. Again, none of these sentences are terrible. We're just trying to take our writing from good to amazing, right? So I can take all this and tighten it up, sharpen it down, and get to Jerry conquers fear and survives. There is a power in a short sentence. We don't want all our sentences short, but we can have a lot of impact with a 4-word, 6-word sentence, particularly after a good string of bigger sentences that are 20 words or so. So this is a very important moment to use a stronger verb than is. Rather than Jerry is afraid, we have Jerry conquers fear. Conquer just has a lot more weight to it, right? And the idea of survives, that verb has a lot more weight to it. So thinking about how you might sub out a lot of descriptors and really short sentences, or sorry, short clauses combined together in a sentence, and creating a short, powerful, punchy sentence with great, vivid verbs. So those are our RECS. When you are trying to add sentence dynamics, remember, I'm going to go back to this slide. There it is. Rearrange, expand, combine, subtract. Always be thinking about your delivery, because what you say is certainly important, but how you say it is just as important. So I want you to keep RECS in mind. Good luck and happy writing.